Okay. We are in the home stretch now. And let's see if we can get things done before everybody is completely exhausted. Okay. Online extend support for drivers. Go Erlang.
Yeah. So I don't remember really exactly when this was implemented, but I think it was 2 releases ago that we now support that attached volumes can be extended.
Yep.
But this was implemented, and all the backends. It was considered that all backends could do the operation, and the backend could extend the volume. And initially, we also thought that we could do it, but after some tests, we realized that our backends, some backends in some situations failed, and other backends, for one of the other backends, the operation just didn't happen. It was the LFS backends, and then investigating the way that we are testing the feature, we added the tests on Tempest, but by default, we're not running for all backends. So we believe that some other backends might have the same problem, and people just don't know that they are having problems.
Okay.
And we have strong suspicions about the NFS backends, which would need some KVM or libvirt support to do the online extend, and that is not just implemented. So we think that we should test all the backends by default. The ones that say that support online extend, we should test them by default. So all the tests that all of the backends that are currently present could really know if they are really testing or supporting or not. And then those are the changes that we posted. One is a change on DevStack that it enables that by default in all the backends. And the other change is a change that adds a Tempest test for backends that doesn't support. I forgot to mention that in this period we added support on Cinder to allow signalize to enable, to allow backends to signalize when they didn't support the operation, the extend operation. So we now are adding these tests for allowing them to those kind of backends also be tested. So either if your backend supports online extend, it can be tested, and if it doesn't support online extend, it can also be tested. Now it's just a matter of us enabling that by default. And I don't remember exactly what was the point that came out on the meeting, the last meeting, that we decided to bring that to the.
Oh, yeah.
So we could discuss it better.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly, we had agreement, but we had to wait for that patch to pass because it was not passing CI.
Yeah,
The one that changes the Tempest. But you fix it, and now it's passing.
Um, okay, so that was the only contention, was the fact that it wasn't passing CI yet.
If I recall correctly, yes.
Okay. So if I have, so we're going to add a test case to test extend attached volume support. And then we're going to add a config option to Tempest that allows them to say, yes, test this, or no, I can't do that.
The config option will enable the test by default. So after this it lands, Tempest will run expecting that all backends that doesn't support online extend should support. I mean,
Okay.
Tempest will consider that all backends are supporting the online extend. So the one that are saying that they support but are not, they will start failing.
Now we have two tests. One that runs if your backend supports, and one that runs only if you report that you don't support. This is like a negative test. It checks that you don't support. So,
Okay, I gotcha.
And the other patch is on DevStack in order to control that config option at DevStack runtime. So it sets up an environment variable to either run it or not run it, and it can be overridden by the third-party CIs.
And there is probably a stupid question before, but the config option that it's added to tempest-config.py on the other patch, how does that link to the actual tests that are being run? Because it seems like it is completely independent.
Actually, there are two config options. One, it was one that already existed, which says, do I want to run online extends tests or not? Right?
That's the one
So that's the one
in this patch.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one that's linked to DevStack. And the other one that was added is, okay, I want to run the I want to run the online extend tests, but my backend doesn't support it. Then it will run only the negative. If that is not set, it will run only the positive.
So is that a volume feature enabled option? Or is it a different kind of option?
It's
Yes.
a different kind of option.
Yeah, but it's something similar.
Because one is, it seems to be,
Which patch is this? 5.6.
but right now in our
Yes,
code,
it is a very feature enabled option.
in our code in Tempest for the test, is it checking this new configuration option that you are adding here? Where is this being checked?
It's checked in the Tempest test,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
which is pretty normal. That's how.
Yeah, I know, yeah. I was just missing it. Okay, yep. Okay. So basically, if we merge these two, we will get a bunch of backends failing,
Exactly.
which means that we should, before doing anything, like let people know.
No, I think we already did the thing.
Yeah,
We made
we
a bunch
did.
of them fail.
Yeah?
Yeah, because we landed it, or someone landed a Tempest test, which is on by default already.
No, it's off
No, it's
by
not
default,
yet.
except you're doing LVM and libert. So
But we already have notified people about that in the past.
no, what I mean is that we should merge one of the patches, the one that doesn't change the LVM check, merge that, let backends set the configuration option,
Mhm.
and then remove the LVM restriction, right?
Didn't get the part of the
Okay.
restriction.
If we do go ahead and merge both patches right now, suddenly 10 backends will be failing.
Yes.
That doesn't look like the right approach.
Mhm.
We should merge the one that adds the tests with the config option.
Mhm.
Let backends know, hey, if you know that you have a problem,
Okay.
you have a couple of weeks to change it. Please
Okay.
change it,
Mhm.
because in 2 weeks we will merge this other patch and your backend will break. Your CA will break. I think we should do it.
Okay, but do you acknowledge that the effort to make the CI stop failing is very, very low, because you'll be just making adding a new test and making it run, and it's not a bug that they would need to fix. They would just need to add an
but-
environment variable value to their CI
Yeah,
to
but
just disable.
You're
it's
assuming
the
that all
Tempest
companies work the same way, and imagine that in a company, I don't have no clue how to touch the Tempest stuff at the CI. I just want my patch to merge, and suddenly you tell me, oh, your CI is failing, I cannot merge your patch, and the person who is supposed to do that is on PTO. Then I'm stuck for a couple of weeks.
That's why the best moment to do that is in the beginning of the release. Why would they need a patch to merge in master so quickly?
Because then they need to backport it so that Red Hat can include it, for example.
I see.
What I mean is that there are a lot of possibilities, so I agree that we should do this, but that we should do it in 2 steps. That's
Yeah,
it.
first
With a
merge the Tempest
notification.
test,
And
that
then
people can
change the
disable.
other.
Okay.
But, I mean, it's
That
still
makes sense.
early in the cycle. It will give people time. If they don't check the emails, oh, sorry,
Yeah.
you should be checking that.
Okay.
Yep.
So is this the one that we want to hold? Yes,
The one that did 7 lines. Yeah.
okay.
Can also put a dependency, right, on the Tempest test
Good one.
on top of the, we can put a dependency on the dev stack patch on top of the Tempest, so the Tempest test lands first.
Yeah, but we don't only want it to land first. We want to wait a little bit. Because for you, it says if you are on top of it, you're going to set everything right in your backend. But
Yeah, see.
other people may need a little bit more time.
Okay, so we got a plan on that one. Is there any reason to not merge this one or vote on it now while we're here?
Looks fine.
I am wondering, should we just remove the enable extend test and just do if you don't support it, we'll run the negative test. If you support it, we'll run the normal test.
But that's what the Tempest is doing, the test is doing.
No, right now, with these 2 changes, what you do is, I want to do extend, extend test, and then you select whether you support it or not. Wouldn't you want it to run the negative test or the other one, but one of them always?
Yes, that's what it does.
It's not always the always.
What do you
It's
mean
like
that's what it does? We
Uh,
still
yeah,
have,
if you
runs
disable
one or the
the-
other
if
because
you
you're or
disable
you
the-
support or you doesn't support.
There is one
Support
option that
one of
chooses.
the-
oh, sorry, no, my
If you don't
bad.
support, you run
It's
with
because
negative.
we only run it for delivered. Okay, that's what I was missing. Yeah, that for any other hypervisor, yeah, that for other cases it's not. We still want to exclude both. Okay.
Mhm.
So we're good on that one?
Yep.
All right. A smarter person has entered the room to try to explain what I was trying to say earlier. Is what I have up there close to right or totally off?
So it's kind of twofold. To provide background, there are currently 2 third-party CIs trying to be spun up in Ironic. Both of them happened to be trying to start with Zool v3, and they ran into a couple issues. With this, we discovered that our grenade job, because of the way templating works in Zool, it causes the job map to explode and they get 300 plus errors locally right now, which doesn't really matter in the grand scheme universe. There are a couple ways we as a community can solve that problem, but in that discussion, we kind of raised up the realization that we have no real central job repository or config that they can import that we control. And so the idea that we're kind of toying with, we haven't actually done anything, we have just kind of a discussion, is that if we were to define a base job that could be used as the main template for all of our jobs, or the vast majority of our jobs to be drawn from, then we could be basically doing the same thing on third-party CIs, or helping to ensure that we're doing the same thing. And if we do that properly, then we would at least have visibility into people turning off tests. Because we'd at least be able to go and look at the logs, hopefully, and verify that yes, they're doing what we expect, and that the overrides are visible. It would prevent someone from turning off tests in the end, because they'd still be able to override config, but they would be able to, we'd be able to at least understand this is generally how the job is working, and have that visibility. Whereas right now, we don't really have any visibility into what they're doing unless we do pure log analysis. And that log can change. So, does that hopefully provide more clarity?
Does that make sense to you, Eric?
Okay, awesome.
Cool.
I don't know if anyone in the center community has worked on setting up a third-party CI with Zool. Okay, just keep in mind grenade jobs, because the entire style is different. They don't presently propagate properly. So, but I don't expect third-party CIs to be running grenade. Maybe in your case it's necessary, I don't know.
Probably not.
No.
Anyway, have a wonderful day. Cool.
Thanks, Julia. That make more sense, Gonzo?
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
All right.
So if we decide to go with Zool for third-party CI or something, probably we can store job configuration somewhere in Cinder config.
Okay. Yeah, it could be a place where we could keep source control over it then. Okay. Cool.
Issue for some companies may be to get not fast, but pretty good and good patches.
Yeah. All right.
I think the benefit of having this is that you can verify everything that is in the capability matrix. You have a capability matrix, don't you? Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, everything that a vendor says that supports or not, you will be controlling that in repository and making sure that those are enabled.
That's what she said.
Eric Harden.
He just left. I think he was going to talk on the phone or something. Because what she said is that you would have a default in the repository, but then the jobs could actually change it and it would not be on the repository. You would have to check the logs,
Okay.
but probably just generally placing the logs, which doesn't change.
Okay. So
So you can tell people, this is what you have to do by default, and anything they don't disable, whenever we change this, it gets
but it's easy to see on the log is what is changed.
That's why we require logs.
But this could make it easier probably for us to know what we're running, to add things, to check.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
All right. Are we good to move on?
Yes, for me.
All right. So reinitialized failed volume driver.
Yeah. Yes, currently when a single volume service restarts, it has initialization. And when the initialization completes, the site driver is initialized. And then the volume service can start work. The problem is that when the address list above happens, Cinder catch the exceptions and return. So as a result, Cinder volume will set driver as not initialized and almost can't do anything because it report to the scheduler as not working. Yeah. So we have a function to publish its capability to the scheduler, and every time it publishes the capability in fixed intervals, and every time it publish its capability, it check whether the driver is initialized. If it's not, it skip the report. Okay, so here the proposal is want to re-initialize the driver in the Cinder volume service. It failed the initialization. We want to that to add an option to allow user choose whether they want to re-initialize failed driver, and then in the function when Cinder publish their capability to scheduler, at first they check whether the driver is initialized. If it is not, we will try to call elite host to re-initialize the driver. That's what I want.
The host is the manager method?
Manager, Cinder manager.
But didn't we have already a retry? Like 3 times it tried?
Yes.
I think it
No.
tries, or maybe we broke it at some point, but I think that it should be
It didn't
trying
try?
at least 3 times to initialize the driver.
It
From a
does on the
single volume, you mean?
database, but I don't know about the driver.
I think it just calls like the volume drivers just once.
Yeah,
Just
once.
once.
Yeah.
And then it pukes, and then you get the
Yeah, but
every minute saying that it's not initialized.
Okay.
And then you get people coming to you going, well, it's not initialized. I'm like, that's not the log file. I need to go up to the top where it tells you why. But anyway, sorry.
yeah, I'm trying to understand what would be the cases where retrying would help in any ways, because at least for the cases I've seen, usually is a misconfiguration or my backend is not online, and basically that's the 2 main cases where the initialization fails. So if I retry in those cases, it will be the same. I
Well,
will
there,
try.
there are cases, for example, if your whole power goes off and things come up and Cinder starts before your backend, it will fail, and now you have to go and manually fix things. That would be one case, right?
Some networking issues.
Shouldn't we just like stop the volume service if it fails?
Well, that's what I was
Volume
thinking, is
service
if
get
it,
restarted. Like that seems like the
in a lot of deployments, if it fails to initialize, isn't it gonna get killed by whoever's monitoring the service anyway?
No, you didn't.
Not by Cinder, but if you're running Cinder under pacemaker or something and it doesn't initialize.
No, I don't think, because
Okay.
the service is still running.
Yeah.
That's what she's saying, that the service keeps running,
Yeah.
but it doesn't
But if
report
you,
and it doesn't
Yeah, but
fail.
you can see
Yeah.
on Cinder service list comment
Yeah.
that which one is not
Yeah.
running,
Mhm.
and then you can see and
But is that
restart.
what pacemaker is doing?
I don't know if that's what it's doing, but I'm wondering if by trying to do all that logic inside of Cinder, if we're gonna make it harder for people to control it from the outside like that.
yeah. I mean, for like
But it
I
could
think
still
like
be
a
reporting.
container case, right?
Sorry.
So if you're running this thing with like Kubernetes or something managing Cinder volume, you want it to just die. Like,
Yeah,
you
but
don't-
it isn't dying right now.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think we should make Cinder restart the driver and retry and all this crap. We should just exit.
I like
But wouldn't that
just-
impact other drivers that have successfully initialized?
No,
Oh,
no, because each process is,
yeah, but
But the main process.
It would
They are
take away-
child
take
of the
away
same
Cinder
process,
back.
and Kubernetes can only
Yeah.
detect that
maybe
the
that's
main
what we
service
did.
has died. If all of them die.
Yeah.
the volume processes don't run in their individual containers.
They should, but you should put one backend in each
If
one.
you're
Yeah,
using multi-back and they
But we
Yeah. If it's
smartly
multi-back,
don't.
no.
We support doing whatever you want. I think it's-
I believe O deploys multi-backend inside the same container.
Then what's the point?
That's a different story. That's a different story.
Not everybody deploys different containers.
Well, I know that.
Since we support multi-backend, we cannot just kill the process, the parent process,
Yeah.
just because one of them has died. That's our limitation. So it could make sense to at least make it optional to retry.
Sure, yeah.
So when
It's
are
gonna
the
sit there
cases
anyways.
that we really want this to retry? I mean, some failures, you know,
Here, you can list the errors. For example, the second one, the driver initialize field, for example, you can set up check. Yeah, it will check whether the driver works. And the third case is the volume cleanups are processed by parents cleanups. So, and these errors, the volume service will move on, but it doesn't work. And from our Stein X project, because we start a volume service, if the process exists and doesn't work, we can't know from the Stein X. We can't know whether the we can check the process, but we don't know whether it works or not. So it is better for the single volume to reinitialize itself by itself.
yeah, as long as it's an error that you think there's some chance isn't gonna just keep happening.
Yeah, maybe the driver, well, you never know if it's going to happen, because one of the cases that is presented in the blueprint, in the Launchpad blueprint, I think it's the network, that you have a temporary network issue
Yeah,
right at the
that's
start.
kind of the obvious case.
Yeah, but you also have the one I mentioned, that you lose complete power, everything comes back, the
Yeah.
backend, the storage, and Cinder, they start first Cinder, checks, is not available, you no longer have Cinder, and then you need manual intervention.
I'm just wondering if we're gonna need to classify certain exceptions as like unrecoverable errors.
Oh, yeah, like configuration error, I
Yeah.
cannot do anything.
How do you know?
The backend should raise different maybe exceptions on the
Or not
initialization.
even the back end. I mean, if you have like you know, if you fail with an import error because you're missing a dependency
Oh.
for a driver,
Import
that
either.
kind of stuff.
I think you mean the import class either. But for this kind of either, Cinder doesn't catch the exception. So I think the Cinder volume service will use it.
It's supposed to, because if it doesn't, it breaks multi-backend.
So, yeah.
But I do remember.
There are a
with that.
lot of cases which couldn't be recovered after, whereas we can't recover in the volume, but some cases like network outage, database, when we can do recovery.
Yeah, it's great for ones where we can. I just don't want to set services up to sit there and spend all day on something that's like not even
No,
installed.
that's why we, the proposal is to add some retries count.
Yeah, but you also have to classify the errors.
And we need to take a look on our drivers, how initialization that maybe we can do retries only for specified exceptions. It is the best option.
So wait, you mean each driver would have to go and throw like the right retriable init error or something?
No.
Well, or you
For
just
example,
decide you'll
if
retry.
we catch initialization error exception, we can try to do re-initialize. And if we catch some import error exception, no, we will not retry.
Maybe a volume backend exception we can retry, but not any other kind of exception.
That's
Yeah.
kind of what I was thinking.
What, okay, yeah. I mean, I know like in our driver, we try to do like a soft import of our like little pure storage package, and we raise like a driver error if we don't find it. It's not there, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of drivers that do that actually, because that's,
And that's like the most common reason
What we
that
wanted
it
to
sits there uninitialized is they forgot to install that thing.
and that's kind of what I'm thinking with this is, for this to work right, we may need to go make more specific exceptions for things like that.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but we just need to be able to figure out what the different cases are.
Or change my driver to just install it for them.
Yeah.
Ask why you don't do that, but I suppose you can.
About the pacemaker stuff, like I was looking at the O side, I mean, O right now is pretty down about this, in the sense that if something is dead, it's dead.
Pacemaker won't help us because we've got multi-backend configuration, and even if we've got one backend and pacemaker can't understand if the process is down.
So what pacemaker really needs to do is do health checks the way Cinder wants it, which is,
Well, that's what I was getting at earlier, is they need to be looking at the service list thing to see.
and then
But then you may be restarting or moving 3 backends when 2 of them are working fine, and the problem is the configuration in one of them.
agreed, but that was, I mean, if we can correct that design, then we can.
But
we can
how
use-
can we correct that design? If you're running Cinder in multi-backend,
I think we can. I mean, Cinder is not in the multi-backend case. It's not trying to run 3 backends in the same container. In that specific case,
no, it is how it's
it is
run.
how it is now. Yes.
Yeah. And that is something that, independent of O, that is something that our customers, any customer, any user can do. So it's something we have to take into
Yes.
consideration.
Right. Outside of that.
We cannot tell them, remember when we only supported one backend, we made you all move to multi-backend. Oh, forget about it. Let's go back. I don't think that
I
works.
do agree. Then maybe in the future it would be good to move into containers and use one backend or one container Cinder volume. But the reality is that we can't do it now because a lot of customers aren't going to use container for years.
Sorry, I'm a little confused about the multi-background. What do we mean by multi-background?
Backend,
Multi-backend.
Is when you in your enabled backends, you have multiple sections
Yeah,
defined,
yeah.
and you define multiple, then you run Cinder, the parent process creates several sub-processes, and each of these processes start running a different backend,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then only one of them fails,
yeah.
you cannot just kill the whole
No,
cinder.
no. Oh, yeah.
No, that it was a separate discussion following your. I'm not saying that was your
Okay.
suggestion.
Oh.
It's something that we were just discussing. Yeah. Which is something that could be potentially it could be a different feature. If I have enable die if there's only one process or something like that. So if it fails, I only have one process, one backend, you die instead of. But that would be a different.
I think we can do it even without neo config option.
Well,
Because-
because you would be changing how Cinder behaves,
Oh,
and that's where it get.
but if you've got only one backend, for example, configuration, or two backends, and
Both fail.
both fails, it's absolutely no reasonable to have a single evaluation process.
I agree. It's just a matter of whether you want to remain to keep the same behavior or not. I am fine with just killing the service. Like unless you enable the retry,
Because
if you have them fail, they are no longer trying to initialize and everything is failing, just kill the process. That could be done.
And in this case, monitoring tools, it will be easier for them to spin up new process, new
Or
container.
move them somewhere else
Yeah.
or whatever. Yep. But that would be a different feature. Okay.
Yep.
Yep. So,
I'm so sorry. Here, we try only on backend storage exception. So we need backend storage to define the exception.
No, it means that on Java initialization method, backends could raise different exceptions. For example, if it's backend exception, or backend configuration exception, it's a backend exception we can do a try. If it's configuration error exception or import error, we shouldn't do retries because it's absolutely useful.
Okay.
it means that we should limit when we do the retries.
So just like we do with our general retry decorator, we pass the exception type, which should take care of.
So somehow we should be able to know which errors are unrecoverable and should not be retried, and which ones are recoverable. And this could be a list that we improve over time, right?
Yeah, sure.
And how will we decide what errors we're gonna recover? Because currently we have a lot of backends and each one behaves or throw a different exceptions. So we need to go on each of them and see.
Unfortunately, we
You're
should.
supposed to all be throwing things that inherit from volume driver exceptions.
Yeah, they did is correct, but I am afraid that some backend implementation could use different exceptions for same reason. Because some, I can't tell about all drivers, but I remember a few cases when I put -1 because the wrong exception was used. So probably we could miss some of them.
And we could always add the most basic, right now, the most basic filtering, like someone was saying, I think it was Eric, if it's an import, if it's a standard Python error, we don't retry.
Sure.
And we can start with just that.
Yes.
And then in the future, we can define retriable errors, non-retriable, whatever.
And where should we add that? Because we have the init function, we have the check for setup error, and you have the do setup errors, which all three could be.
Do you mean the implementation details? I expect a spec
Okay.
where it tells me how she's going to do it.
Lisa looks less sure now, though.
Yeah.
You mean how to do it?
Yeah.
What? Who was going to do it?
It
Sorry.
failed, retry. It failed, retry.
Yeah.
Let's see the Oh, we have the spec. I haven't read
Yeah,
the spec. Maybe it is in the spec.
No,
Yeah,
No.
currently my plan is to call the init host during publish capability.
but I couldn't speak. I will add my comment, but generally, I prefer to not add retry on failure config option because you can omit it by using retries number 0.
You mean
So less config options better for me. That's my point.
You mean just retry all the times?
No, just retry 0 will mean no retries or something.
Processor DOS attack.
Or retries -1.
So I have to ask a stupid question. So listening to the whole discussion, it still seems like we have a small hole, which is Patrick's customer didn't pip something, and he has to restart all of Cinder to get his driver to work.
Poor Patrick's customer.
Poor Patrick.
But they went pure, so.
So don't we need some facility just to be able to just restart an individual driver? I haven't seen that. Is that in there somewhere?
System
Enable and
D,
disable backend.
Cinder volume restart.
No,
So you
we
can
don't have
enable
it.
Disable and re-enable it to,
No, I'm saying maybe there's a new command thing that's like restart or something. I don't know. The other ones are all just database clowns, but like from a user interactive, let's say use system of D, right? You enable services, disable them, restart them. It's the same.
Yeah, in the case that you have you want the volume service to be running, always running, and have less interruptions as possible, administrator probably wouldn't want to restart the whole service just because of one driver. I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah, that would be a completely different feature or a completely different thing.
Yes.
Maybe just support the signal that we currently support to restart, to not be a full restart, but only a sub-process restart or something like that. Because right now, I don't know if
You can use it how
maybe you can even, I think you can right now manually do it. You check the processes running, the sub-processes, send the signal to one of them only and not to the parent, and it may actually work.
Actually, wouldn't that process be dead?
Well, no.
It's a child process of
No, it doesn't die. It keeps retrying. It keeps looping and logging, hey, couldn't initialize driver, couldn't initialize driver,
okay,
so it's not dead.
Okay.
So I don't know if that works or not, though it's not a nice way to do it because it's not easy, probably it's not easy checking which of the sub-process matches each of the backends.
Yeah, and also I think it doesn't guarantee that if there was a configuration option set incorrectly that it would be reloaded, right? Because
It does reload.
Oh, it does reload.
Yeah.
At that point.
The signal we have for restart, that's a reload.
Okay.
Basically, the idea was to do a reload, but to do a reload, what we are doing is a restart of the full service.
So yeah, it should be reloaded on CHub, but it depends on our implementation.
But still, it could be from an administrator perspective, kind of inconvenient because you don't want to send a signal to a parent so it happens in all, you want only one, but you don't have an easy way to know which one of the sub-processes is the one you want to do. So, I don't know.
I think it could be done in a different way if we will shut down process if driver failed, incident failed. So the manager will be
But you still wouldn't know which one is the.
no. The process itself could cause exit or something, and it will be shut down. And the manager will know that okay, I've got two processes. I know that they are managed these backends, and I need to power new process to the start. Okay. Could be done in manager level when we power new processes. You just need to keep somewhere.
Or we can just log in info level the process ID when we start, and that way you can actually know which process you have to signal.
Yeah.
But though we would have still to check that it actually works when you send it to just an individual one, because
Yep.
there's the Oslo service has kind of a flow. We also, like you were saying, depends on how we have treated the signals and whatever, but it probably can be done.
It works for sure for the main process, but I'm not sure for the child.
And would that solve your use case?
No, because
No,
he
it's
wants it
different.
to be done
It's a whole
automatically.
different thing.
Yeah,
Different.
I know, but that's probably automatic maybe because it doesn't want the service to be restarted.
This would be the feature you're describing would solve the case where we have an unretrievable error, like a definitive error, like your configuration is wrong, this cannot run. So you need to go change the configuration, and now you go and want to restart, but you have 4 backends, and you suddenly see, oh,
Exactly.
so I have to bring 3 down just to restart. So your case is your feature is complementary to what she wants. She wants to restart in the ones that just by retrying it will work,
Okay.
and the restart of a single backend
Mhm.
would work for the other cases where, yeah, I need manual intervention in the config or whatever, or do the pip install
Mhm.
of the package and that stuff.
Yeah, both are nice to have.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so if there's some problem with the configuration and with an exception, do we need to exit the single volume service?
No, we
No,
don't.
just-
I think we keep doing what we've been doing. Whatever we're doing right now, we keep doing the same on when we're not retried.
Just not retry? Oh,
You retry if you set your configuration option to retry, and the exception is one that should be retried. If not, you do whatever we're doing right now. I think that's the best. Keep whatever we're doing, and if in the future we want to add a feature of killing
Yeah.
the service, exiting, then that's a different story.
It's completely different features.
We should not
have
mix
most
them.
of them. One, we need to implement one by one.
So anyone will have to review the spec?
I will add some.
Oh.
So I need to go to the other session. Join you a bit later.
Okay.
All right.
Look good? So the next one was yours as well, forced deletion of volumes.
Yes. In fact, we raised the problem because we have a scenario. Yeah, during if the collection between donor and sender are lost, we delete an instance. The instance can be deleted, but its attached volume will be kept as attached state.
We have a way right now to solve
Yeah,
that.
yeah. We can reset the state.
No.
No.
You can tell the new attach detach API that was introduced by John Griffith allows you to tell a volume where are you connected. It returns a list of connectors and you can just delete one of them.
Oh, you mean for this scenario, we can delete the collector and then delete the volume?
You can. So right now, when the out of sync happens and the instance is no longer existent, and Cinder says, "Oh, I'm still attached," you can list the connectors, the connections that are in that volume, delete them, and then delete the volume. So that feature is already supported right now.
Okay.
So you are in luck. That's done. And yeah, in theory, we could even add it to Cinder, the automation of that the force delete actually deletes the connection, right?
Well, what's the overlap there with force detach?
I don't know what happens.
We have to reset state at first and then delete. First delete kind of.
No. What I mean is that we could, if we wanted, make force delete, check, and internally do a loop.
Yeah.
If I have connections, for every connection, delete it, then delete the ball.
Maybe, but we decided, at least for right now, we had kind of decided that force delete was really only about status checks. We could do that, but
Well, I think
I don't
it's not a big win. I mean, if you try to delete, it tells that there are attachments, that it's still attached. You check and you remove the attach, and it's fine.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, I'm okay with the way we can fix it right now, which is just list and do it.
I'm okay if we can delete the collectors and then delete.
We can, because right now the connection information is stored in Cinder, no longer is stored in Nova, which is why we have the information necessary to pass the driver and tell it, please detach, remove the mapping and export and everything from this volume. So you should look at the John's new attach detach calls.
So okay, thank you.
Yep.
So the action is to update force delete to. No action? Okay.
Yeah, I will set the BP to invalid.
It's basically for her to look at the new APIs and confirm that they serve her case.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be it.
All right. One more. I don't know if I want to do it. Give me a minute here to do some.
You want to take a break, Jay?
Sure. Let's take like a 10-minute break and I'll do a little house cleaning here to get ready for the next topic.
Soul searching. Yeah.
Soul searching?
Yep. See
what are our priorities? What does it mean?
Stein for us. Okay, so that's for
Allison checked it.
Oh. and I can find a full one that would fit my working. He brought us back, and I said, "Oh, I buy a big one, put the keys in, put my gloves in, and that's it." Nope.
Is to check the.
Yeah, you told me. That's how I knew. Can I double check just in case they change? I know. Apparently,
I think they even specifically list this.
Yes. Yeah. They did say it very clearly. So I'll have to just send them. I will check them. That's my luggage.
Jen,
And my
should I add my spec here?
Well, that's what we're gonna start, working on here. So,
Sign in to take off.
okay,
Good to see you. We'll
Yep.
be in touch.
good to see you, sounds good.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Um,
Hey, Bill. Is this the bridge? But I'm trying to dial in by phone, and this was the link that was in the meeting invite.
Figured it was safe to work it out. Completely advised, yeah.
I'm gonna take like all these points. Sorry, guys.
I told him he's talking on the phone. Okay, those are acceptable.
Yeah.
If not, 10 euros.
That's kind of where it is. I'm trying to go buy all the stuff I gotta carry.
I would like to ask a question. You said before that, breaking the CI and then if somebody needs to merge something on master, wouldn't you in those cases just see that there is a single test failing that does not relate at all to the patch and allow it to merge anyway?
Yeah. Sure, but most of the time what we do is your CI is failing. We don't, well, it takes more time to go and check.
Yeah,
Somebody-
but then the whole, you say, okay, your CI is not passing, but then the own person responds that, okay, this is just this test that is failing because of this and that, and it's not related to the patch I'm submitting.
The problem is if we encourage that, we end up with kind of what we already have, where the base failure rate is so high that when you look at any patch, you see a whole bunch of red stuff, and then everyone loses any motivation to look at any of it.
Yeah.
Because there's such a baseline noise level there.
They're only really useful for like individual driver changes. If you look at that driver's CI.
Not always, because then you do changes, and for example, whenever I do anything related with attached, detached, multipath, I want to see the different ones
Sure,
to
okay.
see, because each driver is completely different.
But
I
even
see
then,
fiber
you
channel,
know the-
I
you
can
know
see.
which CIs to look at that are relevant for the change, right?
Yeah.
That's like tribal organ knowledge. Could you like annotate a patch and say, hey, only show these CIs?
The whole
Like,
point of the
we
whole
only care about
system
those
is
things.
that we weren't supposed to have to know which ones were relevant.
Right.
They were supposed to work by now that we've been building them for like 4 years.
2 more years.
All right, so this is riveting work, but I'm just kind of going through the Etherpad here and pulling out the things I think we want to track in our priorities Etherpad. And which ones I think need a spec and which ones don't. Do we need a spec for the scheduler changes? We probably should for
No,
that
I
one.
will have to write it, yes.
Okay. Good.
Because it will probably be a significant change in terms of how we're doing things. Hopefully not to be,
Oh, that one.
yeah, the scheduler with the, how Nova is doing it in placement, yeah, that one. Yeah.
And we need a spec for this one. Where do we land on?
And I don't know if it will be necessary. I'm planning on working on enabling parallel execution of attach and detach. You know, it's great. There are different ways I'm going to do it.
Okay.
So I don't know if, I don't know how significant the patches will turn out to be.
Parallel execution of attach and detach, the same one.
But no, not the same volume. But right now, when you ask, try to do an attach and detach in Nova, all your iSCSI backends are attached one by one. And when customers suddenly launch 10 VMs, boot from volume, then timeouts start happening because the last one takes forever. And if you add up that in some cases, when a path is flaky, you can take up to 2 minutes to fill out a login, which means that 2 minutes, you cannot do any attach on a Nova node. That doesn't seem right. So I'm looking into ways to allow better concurrency in that. Which I don't know if it will turn out to be more complicated and require some kind of spec to so that everybody can think and see if I'm missing stuff in there.
Somewhat related, just spitballing here, is it possible for us to influence the node scheduler so that if a node is sitting there for 2 minutes blocked trying to put volume, it'll put other VM requests elsewhere? Because I know for like us, we get complaints with that. They're like, I tried to boot 50 VMs and it took too long. And some of them timed out or something.
So you want like a
Yeah.
layer that looks at states of instances being created or something?
Yeah, something like that. Like, because if they would just go to other nodes that don't have, say that the NIC is bad on the compute build system, right?
I see.
And you get 49-year VMs, and that last one struggles along and maybe gets rescheduled later or something.
Yeah, like they could track some information for placement, how long attachments are taken in each node, right?
Yeah.
And consider it when.
But like, if OSBridge can provide a simple like not in a healthy state, go somewhere else for a while.
Okay, yeah, because right now, what happens is if it's not healthy, if it kind of sucks, for a multipath, we just end up returning a single path and logging a warning like, this probably won't work too well,
Yeah,
which
super
usually means this is not going to work.
Isn't they had a config option that like if it's set to use multipath, it'll actually fail instead of give a single path back? Isn't that a thing?
Well, the enforce multipath?
Yeah, isn't that what that does?
Yeah, no. What that does is multipath running? That's the
it.
part. Maybe we should include. I remember someone at some point asked me to do that. Like, hey, if I'm asking for multipath, don't give me a single path.
Yeah,
But I'm still, there's still one thing that I change, and that is that right now, as long as one of the paths are up, always will return a multipath.
yeah, it just adds it to that like single path.
Yep. It tells multipath, hey, this WWID, it is a multipath. I don't care what you think. And then tells it, recheck this volume, which immediately gets
Right, yeah.
recognized as a
Maybe
multipath.
that's what I was thinking of. So you always get a multipath device if it's supposed to be a
Yep.
multipath connection.
That's what we try, but if the device you have connected, the connection is so bad that you cannot even get the ID,
Yeah.
we cannot do the multipath. In which case, we return the single path and log the warning saying, "Yay!"
So wait, if we can't even read it to get the ID, why do we return that back? How's no one gonna do anything with that?
Do you want to know why? Because I don't want to get those bugs. That's the truth.
That's a key move problem. I don't know what's wrong with that.
Yep. It will take a lot longer for people to get back to me and say this is failing. Because then usually they will see in the system that they have the device, but it's not working. So they will go and check and try to read or do something.
Yeah.
And they immediately will see, okay, I cannot read. It is not always break.
Gotcha.
The path is there. That's the serious answer for you. Yeah. Okay.
Shared targets improvements. You probably need a spec for that one too.
For what?
Shared targets improvements that you're gonna do or not?
I don't think so much because basically are the fixes I don't know about the arena if there was even an original spec, but the whole idea is similar. I mean, the idea of passing shared targets will be kept. I just have to make sure that that is ignored for volumes that are not ISCSI. So that is basically just a line change, like and blah blah. Then on the Nova side is moving. Well, I can do a spec, but
It's okay.
We can see if suddenly I start seeing that the changes are huge, I will add it.
Okay. Okay. I'll just mark it as not planning to do it right now.
All right.
And if you do one, we got one. Do we want to put in this list, the investigation of Ceph with iSCSI support, or do we want to hold off on that one?
It might be worth listing. I mean, I don't know that it's really gonna be a spec, because it's probably gonna be basically a new driver.
Okay.
I'm not sure there's really a whole lot to write about it in the spec,
Okay.
but it'd be good to put it on the to-do list or something.
Okay. Whoa. Okay, I'll have to put all this together. Woo! I'll put it on here and we'll see what happens. I'll put it at the bottom. It's high priority. Okay, so that's everything from day one. Day two. So I think the only thing that came out of the cross project for us, other than the shared targets thing, was the re-image and attached volume.
That Tommy was going to work on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, this was pretty high priority for Nova, wasn't it?
Apparently they keep being asked about it, yeah.
Yeah. There wasn't anything from edge computing we had to do. We've got the installation guide work, which is, I swear, forever ongoing. Isn't really anything to track around removing V1 API. We talked about schedules and deadlines. Drivers outside of OpenStack. So many actions here. Okay.
Yeah. I think you can summarize it as Cinderlib.
Yeah. Are we gonna do a spec with that one? Or just work it through reviews?
I was just planning basically to clean it up a little bit, submit a couple of patches, one for docs, another for the code itself, and then the patches to the tests.
Okay.
Yep.
I think that's fine. Do we want to track merging the enhancing tests for policy changes? Should we put that on our list?
It's not really a spec kind of thing, but.
This isn't just specs, but also
Yeah.
work that we want to keep an eye on.
list. I didn't look at the example that got posted today, but hopefully that's something that we can take and expand on.
Yeah, that would be the hope. Okay, so, I'll put you up who's leading that one for now.
Okay.
That. There. Okay, and then we've got the untyped volumes discussion. I feel like that's relatively important. Not that the order of these really matters. Okay, so we got that one on there. We need a spec for drinking beer.
Of course. You need to know what beer, where.
Maybe you could specify what the official Stein looks like.
Oh, there you go. Oh, okay, so we've got this down here because I'm not sure how this will go forward, but We've already got the online extend stuff in flight. All right, reinitialized failed volume driver. Cough back. If you can put your spec in there, Lisa, that'd be great. And there was no action needed for forced deletion of volumes. All right. Bottom. Okay, so 14 things to look at for Stein.
So this is a longer bit, so we have 1 month more to implement everything.
Oh, are we going to keep working on the generic backup?
I really do want to finish this Stein. That's on top of my priorities because this is
Okay, so
because I proposed this spec a few days ago. No big progress done except POC, which is available. Get it. And so I think I need to finish it and Stein, or I will remove Stein.
and we've got the deferred deletion, which I think we still
Deletion.
for RBD driver.
Oh, so
Um,
by the way, that Eric is still on. Eric, do you know when we will be support active for RBT?
Well,
we are-
like pretty soon.
Are you expecting it in Stein? And multi-attach.
Multi-touch actually is targeted for stuff.
So it's two most awesome features.
Yeah, no, multi-touch is on the list for Stein. I don't know from the upstream perspective what we have finished on any chain thing at this point.
Probably just testing.
Given how are we doing?
Yeah, that's been the problem for 2 or 3 releases. I started working on a framework. I got distracted with other stuff.
Is upstream just gonna call it
I can still do it.
USB and say how it works now?
I can help you with this testing. It's a active stuff.
Oh,
Multi-attach needed.
Uh-huh.
Because we deployed them almost properly. Every customer has few exceptions. It's really important for us.
We were thinking about like to start doing something with it as tech preview, like we are going to test it, but also let some customers on their laboratory test it as well, and come back with any issue they find. So, because it's hard to figure out all the
Absolutely.
possible interaction that
That's
can
why I
happen.
propose in my file to test this.
Yeah, yeah. I think we should probably have a chat with John Bernard as well, because he was going to look at it. And I don't know if they have shifted his priority, because now he's working on the multi-touch, which is probably a smaller piece of work.
Multi-attach is important to
But yeah, we should have some kind of discussion about
Eventually,
how
I
we
don't
can
know.
test it.
It was a victim
Okay,
of some political stuff, so
Great. Because I think we,
maybe this release.
ideally, we would want to be
It will
ready
depend on
by
when some customer comes. Yeah.
So maybe release it as some kind of like review in NES, and then say indeed say, yeah, it's working. I think that's mostly the engineering plan. Then we have to hear back from him. That is our plan.
I'm in Bellevue, so.
So, question? So is this scheduler fixes improvements back now obsolete?
Which one?
Just open the exception and
This was the one where then we started going down the rat hole of replacement service and
It's cool though.
That-
It's,
uh,
shows signs that
I think it's not needed anymore.
because we've replaced it with, I mean, we're gonna use.
There was one about using placement, another about using the database,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's one you could do.
Oh.
So probably it will just need to be rewritten one
I
about the
prefer
database.
this placement or part of placement cinder instead always rotate.
But the approach is similar, right? It's using the
Okay.
database.
So apparently we are going to abandon because his is the one about the database
Yeah.
and the other is about using placement directly as external thing. So this one probably needs to be a different one.
I think we should just start
Yeah.
fresh. Okay,
Probably.
so I'm just gonna pull that out of our list.
Okay. Well, but maybe you can leave it in the Etherpad as reference.
Okay,
As the, you know,
okay, I'll leave it in there and, make a note in the Rocky, or the Rocky historical info as to what happened.
Yeah, but basically, we've been waiting to be more beneficial to use the CSI versus a flex. So, yeah, so it's probably like how much time you have. Yeah.
2 hours or 40
Yeah, we'll switch it over to the CSI one. Probably like the next move. Basically, when you open shift, it's like GA, everybody uses CSI. So then you do plug it. We got one internally. Just don't
You're in limbo in between things.
Yeah. It's been a little bit of a struggle with official OpenShift support stance.
Okay.
Is they won't support. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right, if I tell the customer, it's like, don't we want to use here, and then his PM gets on the phone, and then we're, yeah, so we've got customers are like, yeah, support says we can't use this, I'm like, hold on. It'll be fine.
Assuming that Tommy Lake is gonna keep working on this.
Yeah.
Follow
Yeah,
up with
exactly.
him. And this
Yeah,
one
we-
is,
There's bigger plans for like, I mean, I guess sort of similar to Trident, right? It's sort of separate thing and can manage multiple arrays and do other fancy things.
Well, I think everybody's should, if I in their shoes, would do their own investment grade.
Yeah,
CSI.
yeah,
And then, but also need to be.
yeah, exactly. Those are the Swiss Army knives. They look everywhere.
okay.
If they need to-
So I think I have our
Because
priorities
we
for,
need to be able to sell
sunset.
that. That's all we need to say.
and we have like, or
And just say,
things
hey,
to get done.
you can still do that.
Right, yeah.
It's ours.
And half of it is YouTube.
Okay.
No disappearing.
Oh, yeah.
So, or the NCA, I'll promise no disappearing starting today. Disappearing today, a couple weeks.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I know there's gonna be something from this. I'll go home and I'll be like, Eric, oh, shit, something.
Wow, that's surprising.
On the other hand, I'm gonna forget it all, so we could go change it
Yeah.
whatever, by the time I get back, I would know.
Suddenly you're working for Lenovo and you're like, what the, I don't remember this. Okay. Is there anything else in the last 30 minutes that people want to cover, or are we
There's a
done?
lot of salespeople.
I just have one question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the privilege separation thing.
Yeah.
So,
Are we
so it's
still,
like,
thinking, interested in doing it, or?
So like Oregon,
Yeah.
Washington, and Idaho or something.
I'm trying to remember, the changes you were making there were just around the root wrap style calls,
Yeah.
right? So I think we can do those now-ish, once we get the other patch landed from Tommy. I'm gonna go explore the, more of the, changing things from CLI calls to actual privsep Python
Yeah.
area. What I was interested in there. Yeah, I think Tommy's work, once that lands, will remove the big issue with the changes that you were looking at before. That whole privsep thing went really well.
So he could set depends on or whatever
Yeah.
on the other patch, and we could start reviewing them.
Choose which one. Well, I guess the line.
How about Stripe initialization?
You mean the long storage?
I mean, my PP.
Oh, it's not there?
Didn't I
You
put it
don't
on
know,
here?
yeah. Oh, I didn't put you there.
Right here.
Initialize the volume driver.
Oh,
You
sorry.
you just need to add the link to the spec.
Okay, okay, I will update it later.
Yep,
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't forget you. All right, and here ends our last live stream.
The
Could you please paste the link in
the Friday.
in the PTG-Friday?
Sure, yeah, I can do that. All right. Farewell, everyone. Travel safe.
I hope to see all your in Berlin.
Yep, I hope we have a lot of people in Berlin.